What even is that? Imagine walking into a restaurant and everyone is smoking at their tables next to children, and nobody thinks twice about it. Or imagine this. You need something delivered, but there's no Amazon. Instead, a man on a bicycle shows up at your door, hands you a glass bottle of fresh milk, and takes the empty bottle from yesterday. This was Japan in the 1970s, a decade where things that seem absolutely bizarre today were just normal, part of everyday life. Today we're counting down 12 things that were completely ordinary in 1970s Japan, but have now vanished from the modern world. Some of these will surprise you, some will make you nostalgic, and some, you'll be glad they're gone. Let's step back in time. The 1970s in Japan was a unique era. The country had recovered from World War II and was in the middle of rapid economic growth. Cities were expanding, technology was advancing, but daily life still held on to traditions and practices that today feel like they're from a different planet. If you're enjoying this journey into Japan's past, hit that like button and subscribe to Japan Time Capsule. We're preserving these forgotten moments, one video at a time. All right, let's count them down. Number 1, smoking, everywhere. In 1970s Japan, you could smoke anywhere, and I mean anywhere. Restaurants, of course. Trains, absolutely. Buses, yes. Office buildings. The whole floor was a smoking lounge. Even hospitals had ashtrays and waiting rooms. There were no smoking sections. There were no non-smoking sections. There was just smoke. Everywhere you went, a cloud of cigarette smoke followed. Salarymen would chain smoke at their desks. Teachers would smoke in front of students. Doctors would smoke while examining patients. And here's the thing, nobody complained. This wasn't considered rude or dangerous. It was just what people did. By the 1980s, things started to change, slowly. But in the 70s, if you didn't smoke, you still inhaled smoke all day long. Today, Japan has some of the strictest smoking laws in the world. You can't even smoke on most streets in Tokyo. It's a complete 180 from the 1970s. Number 2, living in company housing. In the 1970s, if you worked for a major corporation, there was a good chance your company provided your housing, not a housing allowance, the actual apartment or dormitory. These were called shitaku, company housing complexes. Entire neighborhoods filled with employees from the same company. Toyota had them, Mitsubishi had them, every major corporation had them. And here's what's wild, your neighbors were your coworkers. Your boss might live 2 doors down. Work and home life were completely intertwined. For single employees, especially young workers fresh out of university, companies provided dormitories, shared rooms, shared bathrooms, strict rules about visitors and curfews. It sounds restrictive, but it was normal. Companies took care of their employees' entire lives, from paycheck to housing to social events. This system created intense company loyalty. You didn't just work for Toyota, you lived Toyota. Your whole identity was tied to your company. Today, most companies stopped providing housing in the 1990s. It became too expensive. Now, workers live wherever they want, and the line between work and personal life is much clearer. But in the 70s, your company wasn't just your employer. It was your landlord, your community, your entire world. Number 3, public bathhouses as a necessity. In 1970s Japan, millions of people didn't have baths in their homes. So every evening, they went to the local Sento, the public bathhouse. This wasn't a luxury spa. This was where you went to get clean. Entire families would walk to the neighborhood Sento, carrying little baskets with soap and towels. Inside, you'd strip down, wash thoroughly at individual stations, then soak in a large communal hot bath. Men on one side, women on the other. This was daily life. People would chat with neighbors, relax after work, let their kids play in the water. The Sento was a social hub, not just a place to bathe. Why didn't people have baths at home? Simple, space and money. Apartments were tiny. Installing a private bath was expensive. Public baths were cheap and accessible. But as Japan's economy grew, more apartments included private bathrooms. The Sento started disappearing. By the 1990s, most had closed down. Today, Sentos still exist, but they're rare. They're mostly used by tourists or elderly people who miss the old days. In the 70s, though, going to the Sento was as normal as brushing your teeth. It was just part of the routine. If you're loving these forgotten pieces of Japanese history, don't forget to subscribe. There's so much more to discover. Number 4. Milk delivered to your door in glass bottles. Every morning in 1970s, Japan, milk vendors would ride through neighborhoods on bicycles, delivering fresh milk in heavy glass bottles. They'd leave full bottles at your door and collect the empty ones from yesterday. No plastic, no cartons, just glass bottles with paper caps. This wasn't a premium service. This was how everyone got their milk. Meiji, Morinaga, Meg Milk. All the big dairy companies had fleets of delivery cyclists covering every neighborhood. The milk was unpasteurized and needed to be consumed quickly. You'd hear the clinking of glass bottles early in the morning as the vendor made his rounds. And here's the beautiful part. It was a system built on trust. You left empty bottles outside. The vendor left full ones. No one stole them. No one broke them. Why did this disappear? Refrigeration improved. Supermarkets became common. Pasteurized milk in cartons lasted longer. And the delivery model became too expensive. By the 1990s, home milk delivery was mostly gone. Today, it barely exists outside of specialty services. But in the 70s, that sound of clinking glass bottles at dawn, that was the soundtrack of morning. Number 5. Street vendors everywhere. In the 1970s, Japanese streets were filled with mobile vendors selling everything from food to services. The most famous? The yaki-imo vendor, the sweet potato man. He'd drive a small truck through neighborhoods, playing a haunting melody from a speaker, selling hot roasted sweet potatoes wrapped in newspaper. But there were so many others. Tofu vendors, vegetable vendors, fish vendors, ice cream vendors with colorful carts, knife sharpeners who'd set up on street corners. Even more unusual, the chindonya, traveling musicians in colorful traditional costumes who advertised for local businesses. They'd parade through streets playing instruments, drawing crowds, handing out flyers. These vendors weren't rare, they were daily fixtures. You'd hear them from inside your home and run out to buy. Why did they disappear? Supermarkets and convenience stores made them obsolete. Health regulations got stricter. Cities became quieter as noise ordinances increased. Today, you'll occasionally see a yaki-imo truck in winter, but that's about it. The streets are silent. In the 70s, though, the streets sang with vendor calls and music. Shopping wasn't something you did in a store. It came to you. Number 6. Arranged marriages were completely standard. In 1970s Japan, many marriages, maybe even most, started with Omiai, a formal arranged meeting between potential spouses. Here's how it worked. A matchmaker, often a family friend or professional, would find a suitable partner for you. They'd present photos and background information. If both families agreed, you'd meet for a formal tea or dinner. These meetings were incredibly formal. You'd dress in your best clothes. Parents would attend. Everyone would be on their best behavior. After the meeting, both sides would decide whether to proceed. If both said yes, you'd go on a few chaperone dates. Then, if everything seemed compatible, you'd get engaged and married, sometimes within months. This wasn't forced. You could say no. But social pressure was enormous. Parents expected it. Society expected it. And here's the surprising part. Many of these marriages worked. People built love over time. Compatibility mattered more than passion. Why did this change? Younger generations wanted more freedom. Western ideas about romantic love spread through movies and TV. Women gained more independence and could refuse arrangements. By the 1990s, love marriages outnumbered arranged ones. Today, Omiai still exists through matchmaking services, but it's a tiny fraction of marriages. In the 70s, though, telling your parents I want to choose my own spouse was borderline rebellious. Omiai was just how things were done. Number 7. Outdoor toilets. This one might shock you. In 1970s Japan, especially in rural areas and older urban neighborhoods, many homes didn't have indoor plumbing. Instead, they had outdoor toilets. These were traditional squat toilets located in small wooden sheds in the backyard or garden. In winter, you'd bundle up and walk outside in the cold. In summer, you'd deal with insects. Privacy was minimal, hygiene was basic. But this was reality for millions of Japanese families. Even in Tokyo, older apartment buildings often had shared toilets at the end of the hallway. You'd leave your apartment, walk down the corridor in your slippers, and use a communal facility. This wasn't considered shameful or backward. It was just how things were. Many people, especially older generations, preferred it because that's what they'd always known. The shift happened gradually. As the economy improved, the government pushed for modernization. New buildings required indoor plumbing. Old buildings were renovated or torn down. By the 1990s, outdoor toilets had mostly disappeared from urban areas. Rural areas took longer. Today, Japan is famous for its high-tech toilets with heated seats and bidet functions. It's hard to believe that just 50 years ago, many people were walking outside to use the bathroom, but that was 1970s Japan, modern and traditional, existing side by side. Number 8. Craftsmen who came to your home to make tatami mats. In traditional Japanese homes, floors were covered with tatami, woven straw mats. These mats wore out over time and needed replacement. In the 1970s, you didn't go to a store to buy tatami. Instead, a tatami craftsman would come to your house, take measurements, and create custom mats on site or bring pre-made ones to install. These craftsmen were highly skilled. They'd measure your rooms down to the millimeter because tatami had to fit perfectly. Then they'd return days later with fresh mats, install them, and take away the old ones. This wasn't just for tatami. Shoji screen makers, fusuma door craftsmen, all kinds of specialists would visit homes to repair or replace traditional fixtures. It was a personal service. You'd build relationships with these craftsmen over years. They'd know your family, your home's quirks, your preferences. Why did this disappear? Fewer homes have tatami rooms now. Modern apartments use Western-style flooring. When tatami is needed, people order it from companies, and installation crews come, usually workers, not master craftsmen. The personal touch is gone. The craft is fading. In the 70s, these traveling craftsmen were everywhere, preserving traditional skills while adapting to modern life. Number 9. Cash on delivery for literally everything. In 1970s, Japan, if you ordered something, anything, it arrived at your door, and you paid cash right there. Department stores offered this service extensively. You'd call them on the phone, place an order, and a delivery person would arrive, usually the same day or next day, carrying your item. You'd hand them cash. They'd hand you a receipt. Done. No credit cards, no online payment, no bank transfers, just cash. This extended to almost everything: appliances, clothing, furniture, even food. The delivery person would carry cash back to the store. This required immense trust. Delivery workers handled huge amounts of money daily. Theft was rare because social shame and consequences were severe. For customers, this was convenient. You didn't need to travel to stores. You didn't need bank accounts or credit. Cash was king. But it was labor-intensive. Companies employed hundreds of delivery staff. It only worked because labor was cheap and trust was high. As credit cards spread in the 1980s and online shopping arrived in the 2000s, cash-on delivery faded. It still exists in Japan, but it's increasingly rare. In the 70s, though, this was the primary way people shopped from home. And it worked beautifully. Number 10. Traveling knife sharpeners. In 1970s Japan, a man would walk through neighborhoods ringing a bell or playing a distinctive sound, announcing his presence. He was the knife sharpener. You'd bring out your kitchen knives, scissors, garden tools, anything with a blade. He'd set up his portable sharpening wheel, powered by a foot pedal, right there on the street. Within minutes, your dull knives would be razor sharp. You'd pay a small fee, maybe 50 to 100 yen per knife, and he'd move on to the next house. This wasn't occasional. These craftsmen had regular routes. They'd come through your neighborhood once a month or once every few weeks. Housewives would wait for them. It was a dying profession even then, but it persisted because people valued sharp knives and didn't own sharpening tools themselves. Why did it disappear? Cheap knives became disposable. People stopped valuing repair over replacement. electric knife sharpeners became affordable. Today, you might find a knife sharpening service at a festival or specialty shop, but traveling sharpeners are essentially extinct. In the 70s, though, that bell ringing down the street was a regular sound of neighborhood life. Number 11. TV repairmen were essential. In the 1970s, televisions broke constantly. The picture would go fuzzy, the sound would crackle, the screen would go black. When this happened, you didn't throw the TV away. You called a repairman. These technicians were highly skilled. They'd show up with toolkits filled with vacuum tubes, circuit boards, and diagnostic equipment. They'd open up your TV, identify the problem, sometimes replacing parts on the spot, sometimes taking the TV away for repairs. Everyone knew their local TV repairman. He was a regular visitor. TVs were expensive, so you maintained them like you'd maintain a car. Repair shops were everywhere, and business was booming. These men were respected professionals with specialized knowledge. What changed? TVs became cheaper and more reliable. Flat screens replaced cathode ray tubes. When a modern TV breaks, it's often cheaper to buy a new one than repair it. Repair shops closed down. The skills became obsolete. Today, if your TV breaks, you recycle it and order a new one online. But in the 70s, the TV repairman was a household hero. He brought entertainment back to life. Number 12. Everyone doing morning radio exercises together. At 6:30 a.m. across Japan, a radio broadcast would begin. Upbeat piano music, a cheerful instructor's voice, and millions of people in parks, schoolyards, and neighborhoods would gather to do Rajio Taiso, synchronized radio calisthenics. Children before school, elderly people in parks, even some company employees at their workplaces. Everyone doing the same stretches and exercises at the same time, following the radio instructions. This wasn't optional in many contexts. Schools required it. Some companies required it. It was part of the national routine, promoting health and community. The exercises were simple: arm circles, leg stretches, jumping jacks, twisting motions. Nothing complicated, but everyone knew them by heart. Rajio Taiso still exists today. NHK still broadcasts it. Some elderly people still do it in parks. But it's a shadow of what it was. In the 70s, this was a mass phenomenon, a shared national ritual. If you walked through any Japanese neighborhood at 6:30 a.m., you'd see groups of people moving in unison, connected by radio waves and routine. It represented something beautiful. Collective effort, shared discipline, community health, values that define 1970s Japan. So, there you have it. 12 things that were completely normal in 1970s Japan, but have now disappeared. Some of these things we don't miss. Smoking everywhere? Probably good that's gone. Outdoor toilets? Modern plumbing is definitely better. But other things? The traveling craftsmen, the knife sharpeners, the milk delivery, the sense of community that came with shared bathhouses and morning exercises. Maybe we lost something there. 1970s. Japan wasn't perfect, but it was a time when life moved at a different pace, when people knew their neighbors, when things were repaired instead of replaced, when routines created community. The world has changed. Technology has improved our lives in countless ways. But sometimes, it's worth remembering what we left behind. If this journey through Japan's past resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to Japan Time Capsule. We're preserving these memories, and we'd love for you to join us. What surprised you most on this list? What do you remember from your own 1970s? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next Time Capsule.